Back to Daybreak. New this morning, congressional honors may be coming for one of Indiana's favorite sons, World War II war correspondent Ernie Pyle.
You know, it's been more than 70 years since his death, but a lot of people have forgotten his influence. So Joe Malillo went to IU to investigate, learn more about his life. You learn a lot about him, and this push now in Congress.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, I love history, so when you get to kind of get into the archives and they pull out all the stuff, that's like where it gets me.
That's your jam.
Yeah, it's my jam. He became a household name during World War II by reporting on soldiers' experience instead of just the battles being had. But before the war, he was an IU alum trying to make his way as a journalist.
Do you know who Ernie Pyle is?
Yeah. He is the, father of journalism, I suppose is the best way to put it.
Who was Ernie Pyle? Well, students at IU know him from a name on a building and a statue in front of the media center. But who was he really?
Ernie Pyle was simply one of the best journalists in the 20th century, and he was an icon of World War II. It doesn't seem possible that it can have been a year and 2 months since I've seen you.
Owen Johnson, an associate professor for IU, wrote the book on Ernie's life.
He fit in very well with ordinary people. He wasn't full of himself, and that was tremendously important. He didn't like Charles Lindbergh because Lindbergh was full of himself.
Pyle was an IU alum who left IU because of a disagreement with his journalism professor. 3 months later, he was reporting in Washington, D.C. He was then assigned overseas and saw some of the worst of World War II. He's also known as one of the best war correspondents ever to live.
One of his most famous columns came from the D-Day landing, when the day after the landing, as he put it, he took a walk on the beach and described what he was seeing.
Memories of Pyle and his work are fading, but at Lilly Library at IU, his legacy lives on. Oh, and then there's that movie.
Correspondent, huh?
In 1945, G.I. Joe hit theaters. It depicted Pyle's time in the war. But Johnson says the most important thing he did was create a lasting, down-home story in all of his work that everyone could relate to.
It was the way in which he connected during World War II the troops overseas with family and friends at home. He could write columns that were very much like letters describing the situation that the troops just didn't have time to do, or didn't have the vocabulary to do, or didn't have the ability to paint word pictures like he did.
On April 18, 1945, Ernie Pyle was killed by enemy fire on the island of Iwo, and obviously we remember him with a lot of that movie you saw. It kind of gives you a good perspective on how ingrained he was with the soldiers. That's what he did.
So you mentioned that there's this effort in Congress right now.
Sure.
Where does it stand? What are they trying to do?
Yeah, it would be a resolution to make August 3rd, which is his birthday in 2018, Ernie Pyle Day. But right now it's in the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. There's also another resolution in the House that also put in by another Indiana congressman. So we'll see. We'll be following that as it goes along. But as you could tell, he made a real impact, and you could hear in those sound bites from the author that he really made an impact during the war, about the war.
Gratifying to see the students still know who he was, too.
Yeah, yeah. Even if it is just a name on a building.
Thank you, Joe.
Sure.